How's it going, guys? John Delgado here, and today's topic is going to be how to use a straight razor. One of the most common questions I get is, John, how do I learn how to use a straight razor at home? Is it safe? How do I better use it on my clients? I want to get sharper lines. So I'm going to go over a couple quick tips, help you guys learn and better use straight razor. Alright, so tip number one, making sure to use a blade that is at its sharpest. Now, what I mean by that is, sometimes in my career, I used to buy big quantities of blades to save money. So I'll buy 2,000 blades at a time. And by the time I get to the end of that box, that 2,000 blade, it wouldn't be as sharp as when I would begin. And I would think, oh man, this is a bad batch, it's a bad box of blades. But what I realized is that blades, being metal, sometimes they get corroded and they lose that sharpness. So keep them in a cool, dry place. I typically like to buy smaller quantities at a time so that they're at their sharpest. So that's tip number one, making sure to use a blade at its sharpest. Tip number two, and probably the most important tip that I'm going to share with you today, is stretching the skin or keeping the skin tight. This is key to make sure that you don't cut your client or yourself. So what I mean by that is, using the hand opposite of my cutting hand, I'm going to stretch the skin out, and I'm going to use my cutting hand to begin my cuts. So as you can see, I am stretching no matter what angle I'm in the skin, so to make sure that the skin doesn't bounce. What you don't want is, you don't want to bounce in your cut. If the skin bounces, you're more likely to nick the client. All right, tip number three, make sure to ask your clients or examine on yourself skin irregularities. So things like skin tags, moles, scars can be very delicate when shaving. So you want to make sure you ask your clients beforehand, have them pointed out, maybe even feel for yourself to see if there's anything on the skin that will prevent you from creating a smooth cut, both on yourself or on your client. So that's something that's very important. There's nothing worse than cutting a skin tag and you have a client bleeding all over the place. And the only reason why wasn't for using the wrong technique, was just for not being careful enough. So make sure you do that. All right, tip number four, guys, is knowing when to use a shave assistant. So in this case, I'm going to be using a shave lotion to help through the process. Some clients' skin is sensitive and it doesn't work well when going through a dry shave. So barbers will use shave cream or shaving lather traditionally. Some use water. In this case, I'm going to be using Xotics Shave Therapy. It's shave lotion. It comes out white, but when it's spread over the skin, it's clear. It stays moist throughout the shave process. So it'll be not only smoother for my client's experience, so it won't hurt while I'm shaving him, but it will also prevent irritation and redness, which again, we need to understand that as barbers, a haircut and a shave is as much an experience as it is a product. So you want to make sure the client is at ease throughout the whole process. All right, next tip is going to be, when creating your first cut, to try to always go with the grain or in the direction that the hair grows. The reason for this is to prevent ingrown hairs, and again, to prevent irritation in the skin. So I'm going to look at the hair, inspect it, see which direction the hair is growing, and that's going to be where I create my first cut. If after that I want to get a closer cut, I can choose to go against the grain. But again, some clients, that causes irritation, that causes ingrown hairs, so we try to avoid that and create the closest cut possible going with the grain. Alright guys, tip number six is going to be having the client, or in the case of you shaving yourself, assisting the shave process using gestures. So in this case, I'm going to ask my client to stretch his upper lip down, and that's one example. And by doing that and holding the lip with my non-cutting hand, with my left hand, it'll help keep the skin tight. Another example of the client assisting me would be asking the client to blow on their cheeks. So blow, fill it up with air. That'll keep the skin tight on the cheek, and it'll help me create a smoother line and a sharper line. If we wanted to get under the lip, we'll ask the client to put their tongue in the corner of their lip, the top corner of their lip here, and that'll help us get under the lip and in the corners. Alright, and the final step, the final tip that I would give you guys is to give the skin the treatment post-shave. So we're going to start off with some good old aftershave. This will close the pore and it'll also work as an antiseptic to prevent the skin from getting irritated. And then the last step will be to use some talc. Talc serves as anti-redness, so if you have a client that gets irritation, gets skin redness, this will prevent that, and it'll also work as a soothing component. So it'll help you out and help, whether it's yourself or whether it's your client, help them out with the soothing factor and take away the skin redness. So that's the last tip. Like I said, this was a quick tutorial of how to use a straight razor. What we wanted to demonstrate is just a couple things that you could do to help the process be more enjoyable for your client or for yourself, and prevent, removing skin tag, removing moles and things of that nature, prevent bleeding. As you can see, our client has no signs of blood. Just because we're doing a straight razor shave doesn't mean that blood should be commonplace. So this has been John Delgado with a quick barber tip for you guys today. Thanks for watching. Make sure if you like the video, subscribe.